Tonight, we take a closer look at the life and legacy of Father Michael McGivney as he moves closer to possible sainthood. Yesterday, the Vatican announced it approved a miracle attributed to the intercession of Father McGivney, a Connecticut priest and founder of the Knights of Columbus, paving the way for his beatification. Carl Anderson, Supreme Knight of the Knights of Columbus, joins me now by Skype. Welcome back. Good to see you again.
Nice to be with you. Thank you very much.
So tell me, what did you think when you heard the news from the Vatican?
Well, of course, actually, the first thing I thought of was Psalm 118. This is the day the Lord has made. It was a great joy for us. Of course, we've been praying for this for so many years. And finally, for Pope Francis to make the announcement was just terrific.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit more about Father McGivney, the man?
Well, Father McGivney was a young priest. He dedicated his life to charity and unity. We have accounts where the people in his neighborhood referred to him as a saint. He was seen as one of the true Good Samaritans, and he was just revered by his fellow priests and by his parishioners, and of course by the Knights of Columbus. So Father McGivney started the Knights of Columbus on the two principles of charity and unity. And for Father McGivney, he took a very explicit view of charity, and I would say it was a view of a fraternal notion of charity, a fraternal approach to charity, so that he asked people to, especially the Knights of Columbus, look at your neighbor as a brother or sister. And if they're in need, reach out and try to help them. So if you ask Father McGivney, does charity begin at home? I think he would say, yes, it does. But your home needs to be large enough for everyone. And so it's not always easy. And that's why the church requires heroic virtue on the part of its saints.
I know he's remembered for protecting the faith, and certainly was not an easy thing to do during a time of anti-Catholic prejudice. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. It was very important for Father McGivney that his Knights of Columbus were patriotic, good citizens. He didn't want them to stay in the parish hall. He wanted them to go out, live their faith, put their faith in action, and make their communities better. So in order to do that, of course, you need religious liberty. And so Father McGivney was a very strong proponent of being good citizens and being engaged in public discussions of policies, but also we needed to have the religious liberty to be able to do that. And of course, if you think back on the history of the Irish immigrants who were coming to America, they had had their religious liberty denied them for centuries. So religious liberty was very important to them.
I know it's often said that Father McGivney was a man ahead of his time. Can we talk about how his vision, the Knights of Columbus, has made a difference in millions of people's lives?
Sure. You know, the Second Vatican Council, one of the great initiatives of the Council was to empower the laity to talk about the Church as the people of God, and that laymen and laywomen have an appropriate role in the Church. Father McGivney saw this at the end of the 19th century. And so he wanted to create an organization of laymen who would be united with the Church, who would be the strong right arm of their parish priests, but would themselves have their own proper autonomy, and to move forward in works of charity and, as I was saying, works of protecting the religious liberties of Catholics and other religious minorities themselves. And so Father McGivney never wanted to be the Supreme Knight. In fact, he only served as Supreme Secretary for a short time, make sure the paperwork was done right. But then he wanted to be the chaplain. And his two younger brothers, who are also priests, then became Supreme Chaplains to the Knights of Columbus after his death. So Father McGivney saw a role for laymen, and that really was many decades ahead of his time.
Father McGivney died amid a pandemic, just like the one we're experiencing right now. How are the Knights helping those in need during this pandemic?
Well, we launched a new initiative with this pandemic called Leave No Neighbor Behind. We want to reach out, as I said, to our neighbors and see if they need help, see if there's special needs during this time, and where we can, try to meet those needs. So we put several $1 million into this program of stocking up food pantries and food banks, trying to make sure that maybe our isolated neighbors who are having a difficulty getting to the store, getting the things they need, somebody's there to help them. Also, blood donations are very important during the pandemic, and we've been giving thousands and thousands of units of blood. So helping with food, helping with special needs of people, helping blood donations, working with our medical heroes and making sure that we can give them support, and also working with our parishes. It's going to be a lot of work to reopen our churches, and we pray that we'll be able to reopen them as soon as possible. But when the day comes that we can do it safely, then I'm hoping and I'm sure that many of our members will be there as the strong right arm of their parish priest, helping them to do that.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you coming on to the show. Carl Anderson, Supreme Knight of the Knights of Columbus. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.